Hey, Forge fans, it's the Forge Audio Network. I'm your host, Anthony Urcioli. It's the match day preview, and I think I mentioned it, but it bears repeating. This is the Forge Audio Network. This is the official home of the reigning, defending, undisputed Canadian Premier League champions, Forge FC. We're feeling pretty good this week, are we not? A dominant, thrashing of Forge FC's arch rivals, York United, last weekend, and we're carrying those good vibes back home. Finally, Forge FC returns home to Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton on Saturday, 7 o'clock, hosting Valor FC, and it bears repeating. You know, when I say thrashing, we may even be understating it a little bit. Embarrassing their geographical rivals at their opponent's stadium. The most complete match Forge has played this season, as far as I'm sitting, as far as I'm considered, as far I can. Can you hear I can barely speak. I'm that fired up about that performance against York. Going in, we laid out the three keys against York. Right, score first after conceding the opening goal in 7 straight matches. Check, scored first. Clean sheet was another key. Get back to that stifling team defense that Forge takes pride in. Check. Counter the counter. Take that team defense and use it to defend the counterattack, something that's hurt Forge this season. Too many times, there have been defenders kind of caught on an island, forced to defend 1v1. Forge put a complete defensive team effort on display, and it was a clinic against York. That's another big check. 3 checks usually means victory. And in this case, it was a dominant victory, 4-0. Terran Campbell had the hat trick. He and Jordan Hamilton, forces of nature up top, terrorizing the York backline. Borges had a big goal. You had Becker, Jensen, Hojab Rapport controlling the midfield for most of the match. And Malik Oluwabi-Belawu had one of his best games as a fullback for this club. All around, good vibes for this club this week and heading into this next match against Valor. Now, listen, it's about doing this consistently, right? We've seen flashes. Consistency, at least consistency as far as results are concerned, it hasn't quite been there. Here's an opportunity, though, to do it at home in front of the Forge faithful. And it will not be easy because Valor has posed all kinds of trouble and problems for Forge FC. Throughout these matches, these two have competed head-to-head in. So let's look at the table now. Going into this match, Forge FC, second place, 22 points, 3 points back of Pacific, who has come down to earth quite a bit. Good news, Valor, they're in desperation mode. Just 15 points in the season. They're in 7th place, and they still find themselves 4 points out of that final playoff spot. So they're looking for W's. Forge looking for better results at home. 7 matches, just 9 points so far. Just 2 wins in 7 matches at Tim Hortons Field. The 6th best home record in terms of overall points. Not good enough, not up to Forge standards. That also kind of speaks to how good they've been away from home. But back home now, feeling good. Opportunity. Always opportunity week after week. In terms of away records, let's look at Valor. It kind of resembles where they are on the overall table. 7th best away record in terms of overall points. Just 5 points in 7 matches. Just 1 win away from home this season for the club from Winnipeg. Head-to-head matchups, though, all time. Both clubs, 8 wins. And they've only played to 1 draw in 17 matches against each other. So both, completely even records. So Valor's always been a tough out for Forge. And a lot of that has to do with how well Valor defends. In fact, they are probably the best defensive club. Statistically, they are the best defensive club in the league. But even in terms of their structure, their discipline, very, very difficult to break down and to find offense against. Now, the two clubs have played twice this season. Last time they played, that was a stinker for Forge. That was at Valor. It was a 2-0 loss. It was an ugly one. It was maybe the most, well, it was one of the more ugly performances, I would say, for certainly this season for Forge. But the match before that, Forge was able to grind out a victory, 3-2 at home against Valor. Looking at some team streaks here. Now, first to concede, Forge had gone 7 straight matches giving up the first goal. They broke that streak last match. So things trending up. Valor's had trouble scoring first as well. I mean, they've had trouble scoring, period. But they've given up the first goal in 5 of their last 7 matches. And, head to head, this is interesting. Head to head, Valor has scored first against Forge FC in 7 straight matches. Which is kind of amazing. And Forge, in their last 15 matches against Valor, have failed to secure a clean sheet, which means Valor has scored. A team that has struggled to score has been able to find the back of the net against Forge in 15 straight matches. So interesting trends for a team that is at the bottom of the CPL table, has found some success against Forge specifically. And they're going to be leaning on that in this one. Shots on target per game. We mentioned Terran Campbell. We're going to get individual now with some players. Terran Campbell averaging 1.3 shots on target per game. That is number 1 in the CPL. And that's impressive considering how much Forge uses their depth. Rarely is Terran Campbell playing a full 90 minutes. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I would be surprised, and I don't want to, I'll just say I would be surprised if he's played a full 90 this season, just with the way the club uses its depth and its rotation. So 1.3 shots on target, leads the league. That's impressive. Jordan Hamilton, by the way, shots on target per game, 0.9. That's 6th best in the league. So Jordan Hamilton, right, another guy. I don't think he's played a full 90, but he's averaging almost a full shot on target per match. That's 6th best in the league. Forge with 2 players in the top 10. Ball possession stats. This one jumps out. Forge FC, 56.5%. They lead the league. No surprise there. They've been doing it for the last 4+ years. Number 2 in the league, Valor FC. Again, surprising. Now, is it because they have been trailing so much this season that their opponents have ended up just kind of playing back and playing defense? Maybe that's why they're at 55.1%. But Valor is the 2nd best possession team in the league. And that one definitely jumps out. But again, that one might be skewed because they are playing from behind quite a bit. Hitting the woodwork. Forge FC, unlucky a lot this year. Last match alone, there was a stretch in which, against York, where Forge had hit the post 3 times in a span of 5 minutes, which is crazy. Because as far as woodwork goes this season, Forge have hit it 9 times. That almost seems low, but okay, let's go with the stats here. Either way, they lead the league in hitting the post. I know it's an odd stat, but it just ties into kind of just the bad luck this club has faced this season. And just for whatever reason, the ball wasn't going in for a while, and they've hit the post 9 times. 3 more than the 2 teams in second place, which Atletico and Valor have hit the post 6 times this season. So tough luck for Forge, still though, 2nd spot on the CPL table. And goals conceded, the best defensive team in the league is Valor FC. They've given up just 14. By comparison, Forge have given up 18. All right. So let's delve a little more into Valor FC. Making consecutive appearances on the program is Benedict Rhodes. Why? Well, Benedict covered Valor's last match, which was a 2-0 loss to Atletico Ottawa. Also, Benedict has been covering the women's national team, and they have some pretty big matches coming up because, it's the World Cup and all. Pretty significant. So let's bring Benedict. Tongue twister time. Let's bring Benedict in right now. All right, Benedict, thanks for going back to back with us and taking the time for a return to the match day preview. Glad to have you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
I mean, the last Forge match against York, I'm watching it and I'm saying this looks more like Forge. I don't know what has been missing this season, but that's kind of the Forge that I've been used to seeing. I don't know what you saw.
Yeah, it seemed like they may be more confident. I'm not sure maybe what sparked that, but it seemed like one goal goes in and the fans on the road are cheering them on and all that, and I think they kind of just took the confidence and ran with it, and goals just kept coming, and Terran Campbell scored his first hat trick in the CPL, so that's always fantastic to see as well.
Yeah, which was surprising. I just assumed he had already had a hat trick, but I looked back and no, I guess that's his first. He's had a few braces, but yeah, he's definitely earned it with the work he's put in, and it was a statement game in a lot of ways. York was at home. The winner would gain sole possession of second place. What about on the York side of things? I mean, was that a pretty concerning effort? Does that have the potential to be kind of one of those back-breaking losses?
I hope they don't let it become that, but I think Martin Nash, their head coach, said after the game like they didn't look like they wanted to play in that game. They came out really slow. They came out not prepared maybe for how as good as Forge came out. So I think hopefully they'll use that as motivation as opposed to let it sort of kick them while they're down, I guess. But I guess we'll have to see how they respond in the next game.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, how do you not get up for that game? It seemed I was really surprised, to be honest with you, with the way York came out. And you mentioned Terran Campbell. I don't. Maybe the answer is obvious, but well, what is it about Terran Campbell that just makes him so dangerous as a striker and as a forward?
I think one thing he's shown over the years in the CPL is his movement is really good. He knows where to be at the right times, and I think that was clear in this game. 3 goals where he was in the right place at the right time and took advantage of opportunities when they were presented to him. And when you can do that, you're going to score a lot of goals in this league.
Yeah, even when his debut season with Forge last year, Bobby talked a lot about it, that he has all the goals. Those are the obvious things, but his work rate off the ball is one of those things you kind of have to pay attention to. And when you do, I mean, you see it. I mean, this is a guy with a work rate. Like, it's just nonstop. I mean, the motor is always going, and you don't always get that from a forward or a striker. And it seems to be one of those things that kind of separates himself from the other players.
Yeah, that's something you can't really teach either. That's something that, like, the movement you can teach, but the work rate is an intangible. Like, that's something that you either have or you don't have, and if you don't have it, you're not going to be successful. And he's shown that when he puts everything into his game and he's in those right positions, he can be one of the best players in the league.
Valor's a pretty straightforward club. I mean, quite frankly, elite defensively, inept offensively. Does that pretty much sum it up?
At the moment, yeah, they're playing. I think well at times. They're making these chances, but there's the thing that's been struggling for 4 games now without an open play goal is they're not putting the ball in the back of the net. They're getting into the right opportunities. They're getting into the box, but when it comes to that final moment of quality to just put the ball in the back of the net, they're lacking at the moment, and they're paying the price. 4 games without a goal from a non-penalty goal and 1 win in that span, but again, it's from a penalty. So something they'll want to change, and it doesn't get any easier for them playing at Tim Hortons Field, but a game that they'll need to get up for as well.
Yeah, the lack of production from open play, I do want to. I use that in the match day preview, and I just want everyone to know that I definitely stole that from you. I read it in your recap, and it's kind of amazing because it's something. Yeah, I mean, you can't rely on PKs. What is it about Valor's attack that has just not been there? I mean, is it a lack of quality? Is it an issue of execution? What is it?
I think it's a bit of execution. They're finding ways to get into the positions they need to be in, but they're just maybe lacking confidence at the moment. They're kind of keep hearing people saying, this team is struggling to score goals, and it's getting them a little bit. Phil DeSantos, their head coach, has kind of said they're missing the salt and pepper of that perfect dish is one thing he said. Like, everything's there except for the final second, the final shot, and if they can get that going, I think they'll be fine this season. But that needs to happen sooner rather than later before some other teams start to run away from them.
Valor has been able to score against Forge, which is interesting. But what makes them so good defensively? I mean, is it a personnel thing? Is it a structure? Is it just a combination of it all? Quality coaching? What is it exactly?
I think it's a bit of everything, but I think one of the most promising things about this Valor team this year has been their sort of resilience. They've had a lot of injuries at the back this year. They've had a lot of chopping and changing, but when no matter who's on the field, they always play the same system. They know where to be and what to do, and I think that's very important for a team to have that sort of defined structure and know that no matter who comes into the pitch, they'll find a way to make it happen, and I think that's been sort of the story of their season defensively.
We are days away from the start of the Women's World Cup. Canada opens Thursday against Nigeria. Canada's ranked 7th in the world, but I don't know that Canada's getting the same level of respect they have in the past. I mean, maybe I'm just crazy, but it seems like they're a little overlooked going into this tournament.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think they kind of enjoy that kind of underdog kind of mentality, or that sort of opportunity to be the underdogs. I think they kind of thrive on that. So I think maybe in a way it's partly on them not like bigging themselves up as we're going in to win this. Like, they do believe that they can win this, and they have said we have the quality to win this. But I don't know if other teams necessarily believe them, and I think that's something that they'll thrive on. I think that's something that'll kind of fuel them, I guess, going into this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, speaking overlooked, all-time leading goal scorer in women's international soccer, Christine Sinclair, is back. She's done so much for, I mean, the sport in this country, and even she doesn't appear to be getting the same level of respect of some of the other women. Has she been overlooked a little bit?
A little bit. I think so part of that is because of her role has changed a little bit. She's not really the starting striker every single game anymore, like she had been for the past 20 years, really. I think now she's more of a midfielder. She's kind of playing more of a creator than a finisher, and maybe the goals are drawing up a little bit, but she still has the quality and the football IQ to be able to change a game on her own, and she's still going to be a crucial player for Canada in this tournament, no matter what position she plays in.
Yeah, and to your point, the Sinclair era is winding down. It's a remarkable career. But who's next? I mean, does the women's national team have that Sinclair-esque player that can kind of be, the face of the sport in women's soccer? Do they have that in the pipeline?
No one's ever going to replace Christine Sinclair, but I think one of the players who's kind of been talked about that in that sort of light, I guess, for years is Jordan Huitema. I think she's a player with a lot of potential. She's already played well. She already has 50 something caps, I think, already for the national team, and she's 22.
Really?
I believe so. She's going to play in Sinclair in youth national team goals. So she's a proven goal scorer, and if she can translate the team for a long time, and also young Olivia Smith, she's 18. Very surprising to see her in this roster, but I think she's second only to Christine Sinclair to the senior level as well. She could be a very good player for a long time to come.
All right, there is Benedict, and best of luck to the ladies, likely to make Canada proud. 3 keys now for Forge FC. 3 keys to the match, taking on Valor. Key number 1 for Forge, tale of 2 Valors. As mentioned, Valor conceded the least, also scored the least. Very comfortable playing with a lead. Not built to play from behind. Valor scored first in 7 straight matches against Forge. Big reason why this head-to-head series is so even. So force Valor to throw their game plan out the window, make them uncomfortable, make them play, just force them to work with the discomfort of having to play from behind and having to stray from that defensive style they like to play. And plus, once Valor is forced to open up, that just means more opportunity for Forge FC as Valor deprioritizes defense and more opportunity for Forge on the attack. So Taylor 2 Valors. Jump on that. Score first, play with the lead if you're Forge. Key number 2, wreak havoc in Hamilton. Forge attack was a huge problem for York in the last match. Go back and look at the tape. Count how many bodies were involved in the attack and how much pressure was on York's back line, how many turnovers were forced, how many miscues. York just completely collapsed under that pressure of the Forge attack. They were able to get bodies forward, right? Force York on their heels with their speed, with their size up top, with guys like Campbell and Hamilton. The movement of the ball, movement off the ball, rather, the way they were able to almost act as decoys, runs off the ball. York they could not keep their head straight, almost disoriented in the way they had to defend. More of the same for Forge against the most difficult CPL club to break down defensively. Wreak havoc in Hamilton, specifically in that attack. Key number 3 for Forge FC. Nothing comes easy. Valor have not scored from open play in 4 consecutive matches. Look back at the previous meeting between these two clubs. Valor scored twice. Both times came way too easy after mistakes from Forge. Force Valor to earn every opportunity, every shot. It means staying organized and disciplined. It means defending the counter as a team, getting bodies back. Nothing easy for Valor, and they're going to struggle. Nothing comes easy for Valor if you're Forge FC. Those are your 3 keys to the match. And if you want to see those keys play out, you don't even have to sit at home and watch it. You can be there live, forgefc.ca/tickets. Get down to Tim Hortons Field. Watch your Forge FC, your defending champs, your CPL royalty, Forge FC, as they take on Valor, which is sure to be, at least if history tells us anything between these two clubs, a very, very competitive matchup. I'll be there. I hope to see you there. And don't forget, right after that final whistle, we are going live with our match in review. Looking forward to it. All right. We'll talk to you soon.